which leads me to my next concern about Steam, which is the potential for them to backpedal depending on how things progress going forward.
6 months later.
Well, I sure hope somebody picks up that phone, because I f***ing called it!
Welp, someone finally pushed Steam to the breaking point. Honestly, it took longer than I thought it would. For those uninformed, recently there was a game put up on Steam under the name Rape Day. No, this game doesn't deserve those horns. I never paid it any mind and actually avoided talking about it since it looked like just another piece of Steam Direct garbage instead of any sort of legitimate game. But while I, like most gamers, just dismissed it as trash, the media went off like a rocket. Not only gaming sites like Polygon and Kotaku, but also more tempered sites, and even the mainstream media were reporting on this with headlines like, "Steam is currently listing a game called Rape Day in which you play as a serial killer rapist." And as inflammatory as that may seem, that's one of the more objective headlines out of the bunch. As time went by, the articles kept stacking up more and more until finally, Steam makes a statement. As many honestly expected, the game was removed from the store, and I'm gonna be frank with you, I'm not shedding any tears over RD. Obviously, anyone who's been around my channel long enough knows that I don't have any problem with games having or even focusing on controversial themes or content, but asking people who I personally respect and were paying much more attention to this game than I did, they questioned not only the quality of the game, but also the intentions of the title. From their description, the game seemed to not only be outrage bait, in a similar vein to the infamous Hatred, which used a marketing method that, while effective, I'm not that big of a fan of, since it obfuscates the quality of said product, but also may have been put on Steam specifically to test the limits of Steam's policy. And to that I say,
congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
So if I'm lukewarm on the fact that the game was banned, why am I even making this video? Well, it's not so much that the game got removed, but how Steam justified the removal, because that's the bigger point here. From their public statement, much of our policy around what we distribute is and must be reactionary. We simply have to wait and see what comes to us via Steam Direct. We then have to make a judgment call about any risk it puts to Valve, our development partners, and our customers. After significant fact-finding and discussion, we think Rape Day poses unknown cost and risk and therefore won't be on Steam. I swear every time I read this, I think my eyes are deceiving me. We then have to make a judgment call about any risk it puts to Valve, our developer partners, or our customers. With one paragraph, Valve has rendered not some, not most, but the entirety of their claim to be an open platform irrelevant. Think about it, Steam has generally never really cared about what gets put onto their service, even before their grandiose statement of not being the taste police. Games of all sorts of shapes and sizes, and quality levels, were able to be published on Steam. Even some adult titles like Honey Pop made their way onto the platform with the flimsy excuse of needing a patch outside of Steam to get the naughty content. No, what actually puts games in the hot seat with the review team are controversies. That's what caused the temporary removal of Hatred. I think Agony had some problems with Steam, and of course, the scandal with Honey Pop and other anime games after pressure from religious groups. You know, what caused them to make their not the taste police statement in the first place. And just as a side note, Steam's bias against anime titles never really went away, with games at random being denied over child endangerment of all things, grouping 100% lolicon titles with anything set in a school setting or with a young looking art style, regardless of context or even if it's an adult title to begin with. But that's an issue with a lot of facts still undiscovered, so back to the main point. Steam measuring risk to their business is not something I don't understand, but it doesn't make it right, and plenty of times we have seen businesses let go of people to protect their brand, only to find out later that the person who got fired never did anything wrong. Even ignoring that, my problem isn't with Steam refusing to sell a game, but my problem is solely with Steam effectively using outrage to decide whether they should curate their site. And when a title reaches that point, then, contrary to their own statements, they do become the taste police, because at that point it is up to their subjective choice to determine whether or not to stand by a game against a sea of criticism. And I don't even think that they will fold to pressure in many of these cases, but the simple truth is that their choice can depend on the quality of the game, the presentation of the developer, and the content overall. So this shows very little has changed. Maybe not nothing, as adult games now have their own section and are allowed without patches, but at the end of the day, no game's safe from a media blitz. Kid-friendly, mature or adult, left or right-leaning, asset flip, or game of the year. And that's the worst part about this. This will mainly affect quality products, because even though this potentially trash game rolled snake eyes, most asset flips and inflammatory games get little to no notice, but almost every good game will get seen by people who have a problem with it. So despite what people happy over this banning think, this isn't even a small step to getting rid of the actual garbage on the platform. Now, I always try to end these sort of videos on a high note, and it's not even like I hate Steam over situations like this. I still generally like the platform despite its faults, but there are many things they could improve and should be criticized over. Like seriously, any anime game being set in a school setting is child exploitation? Who have you been talking to, the UN?
Yes.
Positive point. Yeah, the thing that I think everyone needs to remember, consumer and developer, is, and I have said this in multiple videos at this point, that Steam isn't the only fish in the sea. And while yes, it is the biggest and most bloated, sucking up a ton of water, there are still other fish, and big ones too. Remember that, cause not everyone's that lucky. PC gaming isn't just Steam, and for a lot of people, aside from basic security, they don't care about what storefront they need to go to when buying the thing they want. TLDR, game distribution is a wide ocean. Don't just limit yourself to one island, no matter how big. But with that said, this is just my opinion and my take on the situation. Maybe I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section your thoughts. Maybe you're more on Steam's defense, or maybe you think Steam has completely fucked up 100% and, slippery slope and all that. Either way, let me know in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!